All right. Sadly, we're coming to an end of this fantastic Sauce Labs tutorial. I've truly enjoyed teaching you and sharing knowledge, and I really appreciate that you took time out of your day in order to be with me and to watch and even finish this tutorial. A lot of people don't finish tutorials. I don't know why, but they don't. So the fact that you're getting here is phenomenal, and I'm very happy. Let's go ahead and go over a bunch of the concepts that we've covered in this course so that you can be more prepared for the final exam. We first started talking a little bit about the Sauce Labs user interface. I introduced you to the user interface and I showed you a couple of the different panes where you can go. You have the automated builds pane, the automated tests pane, and the manual tests pane. We spent most of our time in our automated test pane. That's where all of the automated tests show up as they run. Afterwards, I taught you about the remote WebDriver object. The remote WebDriver object is the object that we use in order to connect to the Sauce Labs hub, right? Remember, we supplied a URL, we supplied some credentials, and then using the remote WebDriver, we are able to talk to Sauce Labs and then send our code from our local machine to Sauce Labs, and then Sauce Labs will spin up virtual machines for us and then run those tests in their cloud. Along with remote WebDriver, you learned about the desired capabilities object. The desired capabilities object is what allows us to configure remote WebDriver. Remember, you can pass in different kinds of desired capabilities, such as the operating system, a browser, you can pass in the resolutions. And remember that you need to pass in a couple mandatory parameters such as the username and the API key of Sauce Labs, as well as the hub URL. And once you pass all of those things in, you can go ahead and run your Sauce Labs tests. Also, I taught you about the live debugging, right? So once you have the remote WebDriver configured, you got the desired capabilities set up, you start running your tests, now you can do live debugging. Live debugging is extremely important because it's something that you can do while your test is actually running. You can put a breakpoint inside of your Visual Studio, and you can go ahead and have your code stop, and then you can go into the Sauce Labs user interface. You can click on the video that's showing up there in Sauce Labs, and then you can start interacting with the application as it's paused in the time, in the special time of your test. You know, if you pause it at a special line of code, that's where your test is stopped, and now you can interact with that application and do many other things to it that you want, and then proceed with your test as normal. You also learned that automated tests get video recording, screenshots, and logs all by default. You don't have to do any single thing. You don't have to supply a single line of code in order to make all of that happen. Just by hooking into the Sauce Labs hub and running your test there, they automatically translate all of your Selenium commands into the logs, the videos, and the screenshots so that you get all of that. And this is probably a very important feature because it just makes your life automatically easier. Simply by running your tests in Sauce Labs, you get all of these debugging features that you never had before. And it does make debugging automated functional GUI tests that much easier. Then I taught you 3 important Sauce Labs timeouts. Sauce Labs timeouts are those that you set using the desired capabilities. And there are 3 of them. There is the max duration timeout. The max duration timeout tells Sauce Labs how long a test is allowed to run. This is the maximum amount of time that you want your test to be executing. You definitely don't want this to be longer than, let's say, 25 minutes, but maybe you want to set it to 5 or 10 minutes to allow yourself for debugging inside of that test. However, after your test has been tested and it's ready for production, maybe you want to set that to a couple minutes. So just in case anything goes wrong, your test is not wasting those valuable test automation minutes on your account. And remember that the point of all of these timeouts is to, again, save you time and money on your automated functional test, give you the faster feedback, but also to save you the valuable minutes for your account. Anyways, back to the next timeout, which is the command timeout. The command timeout tells Sauce Labs how long a specific Selenium command should execute before it times out. You may have an example of a JavaScript command that you're trying to execute, and the JavaScript command just hangs for whatever reason. There are many reasons why it would hang, or any other command would hang. And so this is the maximum amount of time that you want the command to take. I actually never really update this. I just leave it at default, and everything basically works out just fine. However, if you have some special needs, you can increase or decrease the command timeout as needed. Finally, there's the idle timeout. The idle timeout tells Sauce Labs how long to wait before throwing an exception that your test has failed due to an idle timeout. It means that the idle timeout means that there has been no activity going on in your test. So why does this happen? Well, for example, let's say you're debugging a test. You put a breakpoint, and then you finished debugging your test. And then you leave to go grab a cup of coffee, and you forgot about your test. And that you're in the kitchen grabbing a cup of coffee, you run into a fantastic individual, and you guys get into a 30-minute long conversation. And then you realize that you just wasted, all those minutes in the Sauce Labs cloud. The idle timeout won't allow that to happen, because if it sees that the test has been idle for, let's say, 5 minutes, then it will throw that exception and say, hey, it's been 5 minutes, so the test has failed, and then you will stop using your Sauce Labs minutes, and then you'll also get that status, obviously, in the automated tests pane. So that's why the idle timeout, and of course, you can increase it and decrease it. I usually set it between 5 to 10 minutes max for my test. The 10 minutes allows me to debug the tests if I need them, and it prevents me from running way too long if I forget about the test. So that's really about it. As I've said, I've truly enjoyed working with you and teaching you Sauce Labs. I hope that it drastically helps you to improve your test automation skills. I know that it's certainly helped me, and it's helped many automation engineers take their test automation to the next level. Don't leave though yet. I've got a couple other things for you. First, I've got a fantastic bonus that I offer to all of my students. I always try to create a fantastic offer for my students that actually finish courses. So someone that kind of drops off in the middle, they wouldn't get these nice offers. But those that make it through the complete end and actually stick with it, I always offer something fantastic. So go ahead and check that out. And then after that special offer, you're going to go ahead and take the final exam, see how you do there. And then you'll give yourself a pat on the back because you are awesome.